Antarctica. A land located at the very edge of the world. A place where the sky is buried in darkness for months. A place where freezing winds can scream endlessly, carrying ice crystals as sharp as blades. The temperature here can drop below 60 degrees Celsius, a level of cold harsh enough to turn even the smallest mistake into a price paid with one's life. This is a place where humans, even with the most advanced modern protective gear, still have to fight every minute just to survive. There are no forests to provide shelter, no caves to hide in, no familiar signs of life anywhere. Only an endless white world stretching all the way to the horizon. A world that seems to have been abandoned by nature itself. But in the coldest land on the planet, a tiny creature is still surviving. Not only surviving, but living, reproducing, and thriving. That creature is the emperor penguin, one of the most extraordinary creatures of Antarctica. They stand in the middle of blizzards. They sleep on the ice. They raise their young through months of endless darkness. And what amazes humans the most is, they are not forced to live here. They chose this place, a place that almost every creature on Earth tries to avoid. So, what made emperor penguins turn this frozen wasteland into their home? Behind their existence lies a story of evolution, sacrifice, and the astonishing survival secrets that nature has created. When winter begins in Antarctica, everything changes. The ocean, once filled with life, gradually becomes covered by a massive layer of ice. The sunlight grows weaker. Then it disappears completely. For many weeks, even months, parts of Antarctica sink into darkness. The temperature drops dramatically. Winds sweep across the ice fields at terrifying speeds. A person standing outside for too long would quickly lose body heat. The body begins to shut down. Fingers become stiff and frozen. Breath freezes the moment it leaves the mouth. This is an environment that almost no creature can endure. But precisely at the harshest moment, emperor penguins begin the most important journey of the year. While other animals search for ways to escape the winter, they move directly into it. Thousands of penguins leave the ocean, step onto the freezing ice, and travel dozens of kilometers deep into the continent. An action that seems almost insane, because the farther they go, they move closer and closer toward the deadly cold. Scientists once asked, why would a species willingly take itself to the most dangerous place on Earth? But the answer was only discovered after years of observation. Antarctica is not only a place of extreme hardship, it also offers advantages that nowhere else can provide. To survive in this frozen world, emperor penguins have had to adapt over millions of years of evolution. Their bodies are unlike those of ordinary birds. They do not fly through the sky. But in return, they have become incredible underwater athletes. Their wings have transformed into powerful flippers, helping them swim through the freezing ocean at astonishing speeds. But the most remarkable feature lies in their ability to retain heat. Beneath their skin is a thick layer of fat. This layer of fat acts like a natural insulating wall. It keeps heat trapped inside the body, preventing warmth from escaping, and stopping the cold from penetrating inward. But the layer of fat is still not their greatest secret. The feathers of penguins are what truly amaze scientists. Their small, stiff and short feathers grow tightly packed together. They overlap like bricks in a wall, creating an almost perfect protective layer. Cold winds struggle to pass through. Freezing water struggles to penetrate. Even while standing in the middle of a blizzard, a penguin's body can maintain a temperature of nearly 39 degrees Celsius, a living source of warmth in the coldest land on Earth. But there is another secret that is even more unusual. Their feet. Emperor penguins often stand for hours on freezing ice. Their feet are almost directly touching the icy surface. So why don't they freeze? This was once a major question for scientists, because according to normal principles, warm blood from the body would flow down into the feet. Heat would transfer outward. The ice would melt, then freeze again. But penguins have a special system. Inside their feet is a network of blood vessels arranged with incredible precision. The warm blood flowing downward transfers heat to the cold blood returning upward. The result is, the body does not lose too much heat. The feet continue to function, and the ice beneath them remains intact. A natural design so sophisticated that it leaves humans amazed. However, even with such an extraordinary body, a lone penguin still cannot survive the Antarctic winter. Because nature is so harsh that even the strongest creatures have their limits, and at this moment, the most incredible phenomenon is beginning to unfold. Thousands of penguins start gathering together. They move close to one another, creating a massive circle, a living city in the middle of a blizzard. Each individual releases a small amount of heat. But when thousands of bodies combine, that heat source becomes powerful. Outside the circle may be deadly cold, but inside, there is a warm zone, a place where the penguins can rest and save energy. What is even more amazing is that the colony does not remain still. If only the penguins in the center enjoyed the warmth, the ones on the outside would freeze to death. But penguins have perfectly solved this problem. The entire group is constantly moving. The penguins on the outer edge slowly move inward. Those that have been warmed move back toward the outside. An endless cycle that never stops. No penguin takes the best position for itself. No one is left behind. Thousands of small creatures work together to create an enormous strength. This is not just survival. This is the art of existence. After discovering the incredible survival abilities of emperor penguins, scientists still had one major question: if Antarctica is truly this harsh, if this place forces most creatures to run away, then why do penguins insist on returning here every year? The answer lies in the most important thing for every species: the survival of the next generation. Because in nature, survival is not only about making it through today, it is also about protecting the tiny lives that will continue the journey of their species. And that is exactly what made emperor penguins choose Antarctica. A place that seems full of danger has become the safest place for their young. From the outside, Antarctica appears to be an incredibly brutal land, but it is precisely this harshness that creates an advantage no other place can offer. Here, there are almost no land predators. No wolves wandering across the frozen landscape, no Arctic foxes stalking their eggs, no large animals are capable of easily attacking the colony. A strange paradox of nature, the cold that humans fear. It's actually the very wall protecting the penguins. Antarctica is like a giant fortress built from ice, not to imprison them, but to protect them. The temperature continues to drop dramatically, but the male penguin still remains standing there. When the breeding season arrives, one of the strangest journeys in the animal kingdom begins. The female penguin lays only a single egg, not two, not more. Only one chance to continue the next generation, and immediately after the egg is produced, a silent battle begins. The female gently transfers the egg to the male. His mission is to protect that tiny life. The male places the egg on top of his feet. Then he covers it completely with a thick layer of skin on his belly, creating a natural incubator, an incubator that stays warm in the coldest place on Earth. But what makes this story truly astonishing is the length of the wait. For many long weeks, the male penguin must stand still in the darkness of Antarctica, unable to leave, unable to search for food, unable to abandon his position, because even a single mistake could allow the egg to come into direct contact with the freezing ice, and the life inside would disappear forever. During that time, the blizzards continue, the winds continue to scream, but the penguin remains there, not because it does not feel fear, but because the instinct to protect life is stronger than any fear. Throughout the entire incubation process, the male survives only on the fat reserves stored inside his body. He may lose a large portion of his weight. His body gradually becomes weaker. But he still does not leave the colony, because beneath the fragile shell of the egg, a tiny creature is waiting for the day it can enter the world. It is one of the most incredible acts of sacrifice in nature, a small creature standing in the middle of a blizzard, only to protect a life it has never even seen. But Antarctica is not only a land of cold and ice. Beneath the enormous layers of frozen ice, a completely different world exists, an ocean so cold that it seems impossible for life to survive. But reality is the complete opposite. The waters surrounding Antarctica contain an enormous amount of life, especially krill, tiny creatures that look like living specks drifting through the ocean. They may appear weak, but they are the foundation of the entire ecosystem here. Billions of krill gather into massive swarms, providing food for whales, seals, and penguins. For emperor penguins, this freezing ocean is not a dead zone. It is a treasure. They can dive hundreds of meters beneath the surface. Down there, their bodies function perfectly. Their wings become powerful paddles. Their bodies become incredibly agile. Their eyes adapt to the darkness. They can hunt fish, squid, and tiny creatures hidden in the depths of the ocean. A world where humans see danger, but penguins see a source of life. When looking back at the entire story, we begin to realize something truly remarkable. There is not just one single factor that allows penguins to survive. Instead, it is the combination of millions of years of evolution. The layer of fat helps preserve heat. The feathers create a protective armor. The blood vessels prevent their feet from freezing. The colony becomes a living shelter. Antarctica protects them from predators. The ocean provides its food. All of these pieces come together, creating one of the most perfect survival strategies on Earth. In the eyes of humans, Antarctica is a terrifying place, a cold, distant, and dangerous white wilderness. But for emperor penguins, it is the perfect place to survive. They do not live there because they have no other choice. They live there because over millions of years, they have turned the cold into an advantage, turned ice into a shield, turned harsh conditions into an opportunity. The story of emperor penguins reminds us that, in nature, survival does not belong only to the strongest. It belongs to the creatures that adapt the best. Because sometimes, the place that seems impossible to survive is exactly where the most extraordinary secrets of life are hidden.